So what we want you to do too, please, is put your hand up, as Andrew has shown us the importance of that. Ask questions, drop information into the chat as we go through the session today to make it as interactive as possible. I'm going to start off by sharing with you our agenda today. And as I said, please do ask any questions as we go through. So the purpose of today is to share with you some of our latest company updates and product updates, and also to introduce you to one of our fabulous customers who is on the call today, Laurie, who will be sharing a little bit about the work and his vision for Wonnarua Nation. So Laurie Perry will be talking with us in a short while about his vision for the gap closer map that Seer is data enabling. So welcome, Laurie. I think I can see you online. It's very good to have you here, and thank you for being here. So very briefly, we're going to do a little bit of an intro around Seer Data and Analytics. I'm going to hand over to Laurie to share with us more about his vision for the work that we're enabling there on Wonnarua country. We're going to then go through the Seer Data platform features, and Angus Bailey, who's online here, will show you some of our new features in the platform, as well as Nadia De Beers, who's sitting next to me here in our office, to share more about some of the exciting unit record level data ingestion features that we have. We want to answer your questions as we go through, so please do drop into the Q&A any questions that you have, or jump out. So I'm seeing, and thanks for some of the notes. I hope that you are seeing the screen, the agenda. Is the agenda visible on the screen?
I think I would stop the share and just try resharing, because it's just not displaying.
Oh, okay. Then let's try that again. Oh.
Oh, resume share. That green button.
Yeah.
Give it a crack.
Thanks, Nadia.
I'm just going to try this. Can everyone see our screen?
Yep, that's it.
Aha. Okay.
Thanks, Nadia.
That should be okay.
Terrific. So, first of all, a warm welcome to some of our new team members. John King is on the call as well. John has joined us this week to lead our data analytics, data science and delivery team. And John joins us having 15 years working in the public sector, most recently as the Executive Director of Data Analytics and Evaluation at the Department of Health. And so we're really delighted to have John join and lead our data and analytics team as we grow and scale in other jurisdictions and grow our work. I also would love to welcome and acknowledge the great work of Lucy Abram, who's joined us earlier in the year, together with Andrea, who have been project managing some of our very exciting projects and work. And similarly, welcome Nadia, who's one of our new customer-facing data analysts, Zara, who has also joined this week, and Shelley Boswell, who will be joining with us very soon. So new faces in the Seer team, and very excited that to introduce our new strengthened data analytics delivery and customer-facing team. So we've made some major investments in the last 6 months, including strengthening and validating with AWS our platform enablement for how we scale out for public sector data access and sharing, as well as enterprise level data access and sharing. So we've made investments in security best practices. We've made improvements and have built a roadmap to really enable our scaling out from the 40 communities where we're currently enabling data access and sharing at the grassroots for community-led decision-making into more than 200 and 400. So it's really our vision to enable all the flowers to bloom from the grassroots with data access and sharing, and the investments that we're making that John will lead for better security, scalability and agility is our focus for the next 6 months as we scale into so many new places. Other investments we're making is dataset ingestion and prioritizations. What is the open data that's most useful for you all, and how do we scale that out into many other jurisdictions, bringing in state-based open data together with Commonwealth open data and making that available for you all, with community data being able to be brought in as well. We are adopting to the international data sharing standards. This standard, we hope, will be published in the next couple of months. What we understand from our board member, Dr. Ian Opperman, who has led the creation and development of that standard over the last 5 years internationally, is that that will be adopted as an international standard in September. And so we want to be one of the first Australian companies to align to the international data sharing standards. So we're really excited to be looking at that. And then, of course, the data environment for sharing data assets that are private and held either by you all or as organisations that have informational assets that you want to make available to people in your own organisation, or share that with others. That restricted data environment, we're working more and more to strengthen that and make it easier for you to bring in data and share that out in a safe and secure manner. And we're going to see some of that example on how that's done with some of our new features coming up soon. So at a very high level, our roadmap is really informed by your guidance, by our customers. From the very beginning, we've co-designed the Seer Data platform with grassroots and community-led initiatives at the heart of everything we do. So we're constantly looking and seeing how we can improve our access, sharing and storytelling capabilities to enable that. And I'm very excited about showing you some of the features today that have been the result of that co-design process. So once again, our mission and vision is an all-in-one data platform that enables a catalogue of data, open data that's been shared from governments or businesses, your own private data, community data, all in one platform for analysis and storytelling. And we're constantly, as I said, updating and optimizing our features so that can be of great use to you all. As part of our next phase as well, we're going to be initiating a customer advisory group to really codify that. So we're inviting 5 to 6 customer representatives to help us frame and design the future roadmap, the really big initiatives that we're working on. The purpose, as I said, is to help us define and prioritize our roadmap, and that customer advisory group will be led by Dr. Ian Opperman and together with our product team. We'll be aiming to do that 2 to 3 times a year. So it's at this point that I want to introduce you all to Laurie Perry. Laurie is an absolutely remarkable leader. I'm going to stop the share, Laurie, so that we can see you. Hello, Laurie. Could you take yourself off mute and give a quick shout out to everyone?
Hello, everybody.
Hey, Laurie. So thank you so much for joining us today, Laurie. So everyone, by way of background, Laurie is leading the Wonnarua Nation Aboriginal Corporation, WONAC. It's up in the Hunter Valley, and Laurie's big vision is to enable a gap closer map that we've been working with Laurie on for a little while. Laurie, would you be happy to share your vision? Why is gap closer map important?
Well, hello, everybody. The idea came about developing the map over a couple of years when COVID hit. And then when COVID hit and we started getting on the big screens, and I've never seen this sort of technology in my life, I started to think about we can communicate like this. So I thought about closing the gap by developing a map and using technology and research as part of an intervention that we could do to close the gap online. So the idea came about when I was thinking about the massive problems we have on a national scale to close the gap. And then I thought if we just started on a pilot area in our traditional country, then maybe we could utilise that way of developing a map live online to include real data and technology. And so the idea came like that. And then I decided to talk to our board and to our members and about how we could do this, and we engaged the Seer group as well to look at how we could develop that. And then spoke to a philanthropic organisation. They loved the idea and they said, yeah, we'll support it. And so, yeah, so we're building the map to close the gap. So that's how it sort of started.
Thanks, Laurie. So just thinking about what's happening, could you explain a little bit about what Wonnarua Nation, and what's going on country in Wonnarua Nation, and what are you imagining the gap closer map will help to inform? What sort of decisions will it help to inform?
Well, you got to remember it's based on an idea and trying to bring that idea to life. And because the Wonnarua has over 500 members and over 489 children that don't all traditionally come from this area, but we're surrounded by the largest mining and power industry. So there's a lot happening inside Wonnarua country that the idea of building the capacity and the engagement with organisations that operate in the area who have reconciliation action plans, who have dealt with Aboriginal communities and people across the implementation area, and how we can build our relationship with them on a level that they understand and we understand. And so the idea between creating the map, the live map, and putting in data and research isn't defined to the mining and the power industry. It's defined in terms of who else operates in this area. So we have 2 jails, they go in the map. So we have unemployment agencies, they go in the map. So we have BP, Coles, Woolworths, they go in the map. Health departments go in the map. Education departments go in the map. And we're trying to showcase that to not just Aboriginal people, but the New South Wales and federal government, that closing the gap is a massive task from a national point of view. But if you build something and create something that people can use by including data, research and technology to show the levels of engagement on each of the 17 targets, then the research and data is that important to do that. But in terms of doing that as well, you've got to build the economic, Indigenous economic capacity to grow as well. So that's how we looked at the projects that we're developing here on our land, as well as engaging with government as well to create that funding pattern, and then look at the education system that we're now working with the Australian Catholic University. So with the Game Changers program, preschool, literacy and numeracy programs are being put together. Then we monitor them to the primary school level. Then we monitor them to the high school level. And then we know exactly what we need as well while we're building the Indigenous economy. And then that idea of doing that gives us a sense of direction on closing the gap, which any organisation, Aboriginal organisation, can utilise as the map starts to grow and reduce all the issues that we have within our area. So why are Aboriginal people repeat offenders in the jail system? How many are there in jail? We don't want their names, we just want their numbers. And we want everybody to know exactly what's going on. So we need data. We need data to go into the map. And, you know, the map is a pretty sexy map too, by the way. And, yeah, it's going to build the capacity to grow even further. But if it works, it can not only work in New South Wales, it can work across Australia, it can work overseas. It's just bringing people together. And we're all talking about, you know, the voice at the moment and the yes and no campaign and closing the gap. Well, our voice is from the hunter. And this is how we believe we can do that. And it brings everybody to the table. You can't escape the map. That's the plan.
That's exciting, Laurie. I love it. That's why we really, you know, love working with you and the whole team on building this. And I know that everyone's wanting to see it, but we're not going to show it today, are we? So
No,
go ahead, sorry.
No, well, it's still being developed, but it's starting to look really, really good. And if you're going to build something that's live and people can see it and you're putting research and data in it, you want to be able to create the level of engagement that everybody would like to engage with. So, you know, our totem is the eagle. It flies around the map. Our icons will be our animals, native animals that move around. And so we've got to put that much information in there from preschool to primary school to high school, and then unemployment. And look, I've spoken to people like Woolworths and Coles and BWS and mining companies and power station, AGL, about how we can implement this and be our voice as a collaborative approach to closing the gap online. Can you imagine if in, say, 5 years' time or 10 years' time that, you know, there's 18,500 people that we've researched are employed and their families are growing and there's incarceration rates have dropped? It saves money. It saves a lot of money, and that money can be spent better in to grow the community. So I'm covering an area between the upper Hunter and the lower Hunter. It has 2 land councils inside them boundaries, and we're working together to close the gap in health, education, housing, unemployment, incarceration, the whole lot. And the beauty about having reconciliation action plans, well, they go in the map. Everybody that operates in the area goes in the map. So then you're not sort of duplicating which areas of engagement they're doing, you're actually adding to it. You're adding to it. And then we're all on the same page. So closing the gap using technology is about saving money, but utilising that money into better areas across the communities and building the capacity of that community to grow.
Thanks, Laurie. Just to let everyone know, we are doing a deep dive on the Wonnarua Nation Gap Closer Map on the 14th of September. So we'll send you an invitation to join that, and we'll go through that in detail, how technology is enabling and the Seer Data platform is enabling Laurie's vision, which is a really incredible vision, because what we're supporting here, of course, is data sovereignty. Data sovereignty for people on Wonnarua Nation to have access, visibility to the data and information that is needed on country to make those decisions for Wonnarua Nation to drive the change it wants to see.
Mm.
Before we move on, Laurie, I'd like to ask anyone here, do you have any questions or comments that you'd like to share with Laurie? Any questions for Laurie?
I'd just like to say it sounds awesome, exciting, and just the visual explanation of it makes it easy to understand, even though I guess it's really complex. So being in the Hunter region, in the mining area district, would our map, say in Burke, in the regional remote areas, be less complex or like smaller, or how can we compare where we are to your area?
Okay, so that's a good question. So by Aboriginal people mapping country is exciting, number one. Number two, you're able to record things that possibly you don't even know as well. But look, the Native Title Act doesn't work in New South Wales. The Culture and Heritage Act doesn't work in New South Wales. The Land Rights Act doesn't work in New South Wales. And all the other different acts of government that are really dividing us, and separating us, is about engagement with government, right? So to make it easier for Aboriginal organisations to decide on themselves on what they believe is the map that they want to produce, it's got nothing to do with that legislation, because that's what divides us. So you come up with a map of an area that you think is sustainable amongst your people, and then you engage them in there to see if they want to be involved. Now, once you've decided on that area, then you basically build the capacity to grow and engage with the operators that are there. So if you're in, say, like Wilcannia or Brewarrina, or, and there's nothing there that makes that community sustainable, you invent it. You invent the organisations that are there to engage with them to go into the map. So shared data sovereignty is a key component in the shared agreement to do that. I mean, most of the big companies that are operating in all around Australia have some sort of reconciliation action plan, but they also have powerful communities in there that can just build a map to close the gap. So it doesn't discriminate. I mean, no one's going to argue with me about a map that I've developed to close the gap, are they?
No, I reckon that's the case, that a lot of people are very excited about this work. There was a question from, thanks Laurie, there was a question from Alex that asked about what sort of data is going to be on the platform, and I'm pretty sure that in the link there we might have some of that detail, but also we will go into a deep dive on this in September. Exactly, but at a high level, it is the closing the gap targets and reconciliation plans. That data aligns to that, Alex, and so we can deep dive into how it all comes together, how it's visualized, and how it will be used, I think, by community. I guess that's the key thing, isn't it, Laurie? Like, what actions are going to be taken as a result?
Well, that's right, and the key component of that is education. So if we're going to start young, we've got to start with preschool. We've got to find out their level of their education, and the research champions have been engaged as well. Then and through the preschool program. So all the preschools go in the map, and the research champions there. We've got to deliver literacy and numeracy face-to-face and online. There's Deadly Home Reading. There's Deadly Start. There's Deadly Futures. There's all these programs that are going in there because we need to monitor their education. And it doesn't matter if you're Warramai, Wonnarua, Kamilaroi, Wiradjuri. If you're living in that area, we're here to help. We're here to help you with a better education.
Thank you so much, Laurie. I'm sorry I have to move forward. Always very inspiring to hear from you and to get to work with you and Wonnarua Nation Aboriginal Corporation. Thank you for your vision and your trust as we build this together. So everyone, very excited to be able to share with you some of our new features. And as you know, data really is at the heart of everything we do. We're enabling lots of different visions for community-led storytelling, data access and sharing. So at this point, I'd like to invite Angus Bailey to walk us through some of the new features and how the data platform, Seer Data Platform's making it happen.
Thank you very much. Thanks, Kristi. Can everyone hear me and see this slide I've just shared, product roadmap update?
Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Look, thrilled to be joining today from beautiful Gundungurra country, about an hour and a half south of where the rest of the Seer team are on Gadigal land. Slightly less thrilled to have to follow up that amazing vision that we heard from Laurie. I don't know why I agreed to go afterwards, but it's really inspiring stuff. The good news, we're going to be able to have a little bit of a look inside the platform. Haven't got a whole lot of time. This is the type of stuff that, you know, we could talk about forever, but just wanted to highlight some of the new exciting things that are happening at Seer. And I can't take credit for any of it. That's a wonderful product and engineering team, a data team. And as Kristi mentioned earlier, our customers, who we've been really lucky to be, you know, having to have co-developed the platform with from day one. So it's really exciting. I've been here for 5 months or so now, and I'm thrilled to be here. So thank you for letting me show a thing or two, Kristi. I'll just quickly cycle through a few slides and then jump into the platform. We're all about making data easy to understand and making that as visual as possible. Is a key way that can happen. So we've got a bunch of new chart types and chart enhancements that we've brought into the Seer Insight feature. Some of those that you can see on the screen. And these are, you know, in a lot of ways back to basics, but in a lot of ways it's the type of thing that does, you know, completely change how a piece of data is viewed, whether it's a line or a graph or a bar chart or whatever it is. And some of these, so that you can see things like the circle metrics and the pie charts and the single metric values can really pop on a page when you see them in conjunction with some other types of data. So again, the whole aim here is to make things easy to understand, because, you know, not everyone's a data analyst or a data scientist. It doesn't mean they can't work with the Seer platform. We're very excited to enable that type of thing. Quickly on some chart enhancements. So beyond those chart types, and we'll see a few examples of this live as I cycle through a dashboard or two in just a minute. Just some more visual aids and guides to make charts easy to understand. So for example, hovering a mouse over a chart on a different color or section of the pie will show up that percentage or that numeric value, whatever you like. So again, creating more flexibility and customization, but just making things super easy to understand. What I want to spend most of the time on, though, is the data storytelling and dashboarding capabilities. We've got some really exciting new features here. One of which is the filtering feature. I can't show that today because it's still in production. We'll have a session on that a bit later. But basically, the idea is that when you're looking at an insight or a set of insights in one of your storytelling dashboards, you're able to then filter through that specific insight to show different times, different locations, make that a little bit more dynamic, both, you know, for yourself and for your team, but also for the community that you're sharing this data with. So that's really exciting. Something that I will show you is the new actions and observations feature. So instead of just sitting on the slide, what I'll do is I'll show that in action. But to get there, I'll just do a super quick, high-level orientation of the platform for a couple of minutes, and then walk through a great example of one of our amazing customers. I'm not sure if any of the Ballarat Foundation are on the call today, but again, it's something that I can't take any credit for. I'm just lucky to show it, but we'll see some of those new features in action. So just orientating ourselves to what we're looking at. Up at the top of the screen, we've got our little option menu here. I'm on the home page through the Seer logo. Then we've got data sets, so the ability to ingest data, as Kristi mentioned before, and the talented Nadia De Beers will be talking through in just a moment. But you can obviously compare your own data with open data sets that are ingested into the Seer platform already, or that are shared with you from other organizations. Moving along, we've got the explore data functionality. So the ability to actually ask questions of those data sets side by side together in comparison and really tell that story. Then we've got suitcases being Seer Data's insight, collation and sharing capabilities, and also the ability to have permissions. And then we've got our dashboards. So what I'm going to do is show a dashboard. Quite a few of you will have probably seen the dashboarding feature before, but some may not have. I will go through this pretty quickly. We will have time for questions at the end. But if you'd like to have a one-on-one session to understand how this can be applied to your organization, we'd love to do that. We'd love to understand your goals and talk about how we could bring this to life for you. So obviously what we're looking at here is the Ballarat Vital Signs dashboard. So we're on Ballarat's website here. This is their public-facing website. And what we're seeing as I scroll down a little bit is embedded into that website is the Seer platform, specifically the dashboarding feature. And this is their personalized, live, dynamic dashboard. As I scroll down, we'll see that you're able to combine data insights with lots of other types of storytelling and content. So you've got the power here to tell the story that the data is evidencing. So as I scroll down, you'll see we start to see some different types of content. So combining video or audio or wordage even with the data insights that are created in the Seer platform can be a really great way to bring that to life. So seeing our first Seer insight here, and I did mention the ability to hover over these charts and start to see those values. This is all color-coded, all branded as the Ballarat Foundation want it to be. And as we scroll down, we see, often these dashboards will start with a baseline, start with the open data, what's happening in community, but then also enabling the community together to move forward and take action. So how you can make a difference, but also, what now? And this is the theory of change. So we're going to outcomes and impact measurement as a next phase. So bringing in some organizational data, collaborating with other organizations to bring in data to show the impact of the activities that have happened as a result of some of the issues that have been raised through grassroots data collaboration. So I'll move on, just clicking into one of those sub categories. This one's safety, just to give you an idea that these dashboards can be completely different. And that's barely scraping the surface. Obviously, we've spoken in detail about the gap closer map, which is another capability of the dashboard feature, which we're excited to show you in a couple months' time. But just another example of a dashboard here. I'm just going to really, really quickly go back into the Seer platform and talk to the dashboard editing functionality. This is your basic drag and drop functionality. So again, back to basics, this is how most people will have edited or created an email using any email marketing tool or a website even. So we've got here our different types of content, and then we've got the preview of the dashboard on the left. And sorry, if the Ballarat team are here, don't worry, this is a copy. I'm not editing what is happening live on the website, but it is just as simple as that. If you have control over this in your Seer platform, and if you edit it, it's going to be live. And those insights that are shown on the dashboard, they're also going to be updating live. So if the data set changes, the insight changes, and that's going to always update. So what I'm going to do is just a very quick example of drag and drop. I'm going to put some columns here to break up the page. I could change that from just one piece of content to 2 to 3 to 4 and so on. And then it's as simple as saying, well, what do I want to go there? What do I want to show? It could be something like going in, adding an image, dragging and dropping that. And then, I could go in and put a very silly picture of, let's see what we've got here. My face, add that there. Again, this is not going live onto the website, I hope. Or we could add something like an insight. So doing some data storytelling. So very insightful there. And you've got the power here to select insights from your whole library of insights that you have access to in your Seer platform. So that's what's been around for a little bit, and we've seen some amazing work and action being taken from the ability in Seer to access data, to analyze, to share, and to tell stories. I just thought I'd highlight one amazing example that the Ballarat Foundation again have put into practice, and it's worthy of some serious congratulations. So the data that they had in their dashboards highlighted an increase in family violence over the latest period when the data was updated. And it was showing they're consistently higher than state and national rates of domestic violence. So one of the actions that was taken by the Ballarat Foundation and the community was to establish the Ballarat Women's Fund. So on their website, they have a section for that. They have the ability to become a member and some information. So just thought I'd highlight some of the amazing action that can come out of community-led data, data-driven decision-making. Now, this type of stuff gets us really excited. We want to enable as much action taking as possible. The data is only as good as what you do with it. So we've been thinking of different ways to enable that, taking it beyond access and analysis and sharing and storytelling to action and more collaboration. So again, I'm looking at a copy here of the Ballarat Vital Signs dashboard. And you can see at the top, we've got this collaborate function. So if I click on that, what you're able to do is to start conversations with the community, start conversations with leaders from other organisations who have access to this dashboard. If it's publicly viewable, those people inside your organisations and other organisations that you're collaborating with in the Seer platform. So here I've just started a conversation, and this is just an example of what might have happened if this this feature was available at the time that Ballarat made those observations and actions, but it's the type of thing that has come out of that. So it might start a conversation. I'm noticing a really high rate of family violence compared to the state rate here, and then Kristi can jump in, can reply, we can tag other people and keep that conversation going. This is really important when it comes to tracking impact as well. The last bit I want to show is the actions. So here what you can see is we've got an ongoing action created by one of our teammates, Kat, and it is to establish data-informed working groups. So you can see here when it's added, the date that it's meant to be finalized, a timeline of that, how it's going, a description, a goal outline, and the ability to add tasks, assign those to people, and have those completed in a single source of truth for this collaborative decision making. So it's as simple as adding an action. You can link content. So if I want this to be specific to this insight here, I'll click that, save, and this action is going to be linked to that insight. So again, this is going to go back to that tracking of impact and making sure that the indicators that the organisation or the community are focusing on are all being tracked in one workflow. So I won't save that one, but I'll just very quickly show some completed ones here. So another example, again, we can't take credit for having done this work in the platform, but the data went to this decision, but an example of how someone might have made that observation, might have set up that goal to create a women's fund and had the tasks that they were chipping away at as they went through that progress. So I hope you've enjoyed having a little look at the platform. I'll stop sharing and hand back to Kristi and Nadia in the office. Thank you very much, everyone.
Thanks, Angus. And I think it's excellent that you put your face there in the middle of the Ballarat. That was a good one, just to show the flexibility. And thanks for showing us that. That was excellent. I'm going to hand to Nadia now, who is one of our new data analysts. Well, you've been with us now for maybe 4 months. Is that right, Nadia?
Maybe 3.
3 months.
I can't remember.
Yeah. Working predominantly with the Restacking the Odds project and the Murdoch Children's Research Institute. So really delighted that you're able to share some of the new features that have come about as a result of that work.
Yeah, thank you, Kristi. I'll scoot over a bit. I'll just share the screen so we have something to look at. Can everyone see the screen? Yes, great. I just realized I'm on a much taller chair, so I'm making you look very small, which is quite funny. Yeah, so my name is Nadia. I'm a data analyst here at Seer Data, and I'm really excited to talk about our new suite of data ingestion tools. It might not sound so exciting to you all, but I hope that you'll be excited by the end of what I have to say. So when we want to tell stories with data, it most often starts with open or public data. However, if we want to tell really rich, intriguing stories, we often need to use private or closed data. So in order to help our customers utilize their own data, we've developed these tools so they can kind of DIY and be an analyst for a day, so to speak. So when we're talking about data, there are usually 2 categories of closed data that you'll interact with. And I'll just define them since you'll probably all come across it at some point as you're all here today. So with private data, we have aggregate data as well as unit record level data. Essentially, if we were to take a survey from maybe our community members, each row of that survey would be one person. So their name, age, where they live, etc. When we have data in this form, that's called unit record level data because each row is a unit record. If we were then to ask ourselves how many of these people are between the ages of 20 and 25, we would then go in and count them up, and the resulting data set is what we call aggregate data set. Aggregate is just a fancy word for taking small bits, combining them to make a new whole. So when we upload these 2 types of data, it's a bit of a different process, as you might imagine. At the moment, we have the capability to take in aggregate data that's currently on the platform. But what we're developing is really exciting, is the ability to take in unit record level data. So as you might imagine, this type of data could very well contain what we call PII, which is personally identifiable information. So what we've decided to do is help you de-identify the sets within the platform, which is really, really cool. So you can upload your data sets and then take out that personal information. You can also clean the data, which is really helpful. And even better, you can save all the steps that you've taken to create this beautiful polished data set that you're then going to utilize. You can save those steps for later so that when you have a new data set, you can just apply those rules straight away and you have a gorgeous polished data set in the end. So it's really exciting. It should be here soon enough. And I'm really excited for you guys to be able to do it yourselves. I'll hand it back to Kristi.
Thanks, Nadia. Excellent. So very good. Thank you very much, Nadia. Thank you, Angus. Thank you, Laurie. Now, would like to open it up for questions or comments. So please, does anyone have any questions or comments, any thoughts at all as we've gone through today?
Hi, Kristi. It's Amy Opio here from the South Wales Government. And firstly, thank you for your presentations. It's been really ideal for us to listen, and incredibly inspiring to hear what Laurie Perry is doing. And Laurie, Winsome and I will definitely reach out to hear more about your map. Sounds very exciting.
Sure, stuff on Indigenous data sovereignty.
Yeah, and the question we have, because we're looking at Indigenous data sovereignty under the Closing the Gap Priority Reform 4, as well as an internal initiative that we've been running since 2019. And we're just wondering how Indigenous data sovereignty and governance will apply to the platform going forward in regards to ownership and control.
Thank you so much for the question, Amy. So the platform has been built with the principles of data sovereignty baked in from the very beginning. We enable control and ownership of data by community as a core principle. So as we know, this is emerging and it looks different in every place at the moment. But when we think about the core principles of custodianship, ownership, control, storytelling, and controlling the narrative, we enable through the platform all of those components. The one area that we don't enable is the storage of data on country. And of everything that we're hearing at the moment, because we are a cloud-based platform, the data is stored and held in servers on Gadigal country. In terms of ownership of data, control of data, management of data, interoperability, the ability to move away from the Seer platform, if Laurie wanted to do that, we transfer all of the informational assets, all of the data and it remains in the hands of community. When it comes to custodianship of data assets, for example, in the case where New South Wales government asset holders may be custodians, may be sharing data products or data sets with Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander organisations or corporations like WANAC, the agreement between data custodians and community is negotiated through a data sharing agreement. New South Wales, as you would know, certainly Amy, is pioneering so much of this. And there are data sharing agreements that exist that we have helped to facilitate as part of our service offering with, for example, Marinuka in New South Wales in Bourke and New South Wales Health or Communities and Justice that codify the intent of sharing data and transferring ownership of that data to Marinuka. So in New South Wales, for example, New South Wales Health has a data sharing agreement with Marinuka that codifies the availability of data access and sharing into perpetuity on a quarterly basis, answering the questions that are of most value to Marinuka. That data is shared into the Palomar platform, which is powered by Seer, and that is owned and controlled and managed by Marinuka, governed by the Bourke Tribal Council. I hope that answers your question. We do have some information that we can share in the link. Maybe, Kat, you could share the link on data sovereignty that helps unpack some of this a little bit more clearly. Are there any other questions at all? So while people are thinking of their questions, I thought I might invite John King, who, as I mentioned earlier, has joined us from the Department of Health in Victoria to share a little bit about his first observations in his first week on the job and to introduce you all to John.
Hey, everyone. Hey, Kristi, thanks for that opportunity for an unscripted moment. It is great to meet you all. It's day 3 for me. I've spent, as Kristi said, 15 years in the public sector, couple like Commonwealth Public Service, South Australian Public Service, and Victorian. In the last 5 years, I've been trying to get data into decisions, and they range from closing the gap to homelessness, to child protection, to hospitals, you name it. And for me, it's just one of those moments where data's changing everything, like genuinely changing everything. And I left the public sector to kind of hang out with people like you more and get out to community. Because for me, the problem I saw within government, and I appreciate you're there. I mean, it was so hard to get data out. And I feel like we're at a moment where that's changing and we have this opportunity. And too often, at least where I was, there was like the will within government that we got stuck on technology or someone's job. And that's where I feel like Seer is playing, in that space between the public sector and community. And so, yeah, I'm up for a thousand flowers blooming. And like what I observe is you're all using the platform in kind of beautiful ways. You're all kind of learning and figuring it out and coming up with great ideas. And my job is to try and work out how we scale that. So how do we scale like trust and the insights that you're able to come up with so that 300 communities can do the sorts of things that you're doing? So that's what is really interesting me and it's driving me at the moment. So if you have any feedback, like do let me know, drop me a line. Because I'd love to chat to you one-on-one if you've got great ideas or things that we could do better. I'd love to hear about it.
Thanks, John, and thanks for being a good sport on the unscripted throw question to you. Really appreciate that. I had a question come in. Thank you, Alex. Messy data is an issue for most organisations. What type of mess can your data ingestion tools help to clean up or deal with? And so I'm wondering whether or not Nada, as someone who works deep in the curation of clean data, perhaps you could answer that one?
Yeah, most data is messy, which is always fun. I actually really enjoy the cleanup process, which is probably not a popular opinion. But in terms of what type of mess we can clean with the self-service ingestion, it's currently in development, so it's very much TBD. But I know for a fact that we have a lot of options for column merging and changing some of the date formatting. The majority of the tools will be fairly simple, but should really help with things like of the messy nature. I can't attest to too much though, because it's in development currently.
Thank you. So the overarching principle here is, how do we create as much as possible standardized data sets that are unit record level or aggregate data that you can use and make that available in a safe way that is can be available for people that you work with or that you can share with other organizations that you might be collaborating with, in a simple yet sophisticated outcome. And I think that's really the core to what we aim to do, how to make it as simple as possible, as self-service as possible, yet acknowledging that this data storytelling and doing it really well, as Ballarat has done and as Wonnarua Nation is doing and so many of our customers are doing, is really about making the story simple within the context of a messy data environment and streamlining that and making it all possible. I often think about it as, we have lots of coloured Lego and we're helping to organize it in such a way that you can build things that are powerful for the work that you're doing. Not as simple as that most of the time though, is it?
That would be nice.
Okay, so in the last couple of minutes, would be great to hear from anyone else if you have any further questions or comments at all. So just a reminder for everyone, thank you for joining us. The reminder is, please do jump in and join our webinar with Laurie, where we do the deep dive on the gap, close and map on the 14th of September with WANAC, and we'll send out an email inviting you all to that. One of the actions we'd love you to take is, if you'd like to learn more, please book a demo with Angus, and I'll just ask Angus to pop that in. Very good. Thanks, Angus. Please share any feedback you might have, what you'd like to see more of, what you'd like to hear more of. And if you are interested in having a chat with, of course, John and our product team on what features would be most useful for you to have a better understanding of the product roadmap, we'd be really happy to do that. And of course, please let us know how you want to data enable your visions for your communities, and also for benefit of all society. We're really grateful for your time today and look forward to catching up with you all again soon. Enjoy your afternoon.
Thanks, everyone.
Okay. Bye.
Bye, Laurie.